Welcome to the program. This is What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. We're here at Machakos County, patronized by the Governor, His Excellency Dr. Alfred Nganga Mutua. His story is incredible, at least we think so, and we think you will too after the story has been told by none other than himself. So let's do a walk and go meet him.
Hello.
How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Karibu sana.
It's good to meet you.
Welcome to
My
Machakos.
name is Catherine.
Nice to meet you, Catherine.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. My name is Gruzabaza Mtoka Chupakarambatula Mchezagili. But you can call me Alfred Mutua for short.
Your name is Your Excellency Dr. Alfred Mutua.
Alfred.
That is
I'm
how
just,
I know
I'm just
you.
a servant of the people. Karibu,
Oh, you're a
please.
servant of the people. Well,
Just a
thank
servant of the people. Welcome to the White House.
It is beautiful,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you. This
First
is-
of all, before we even go, tell me these flags.
This is the Kenyan flag, the East African flag, and the Machakos flag.
How long did it take to do this marvelous?
This took about a year with the
Okay.
planning, and about 9 months. It started, then we stopped, then we started again.
Yeah.
And if you do it faster, you save money because cost of construction are high when they delay. So you need to have your ducks in a row. And then you do it in a very simple manner. It's stone. We build it the same way they build the castles in the UK or in other places where you build with big stones. And we build this building not for me, but for posterity. It will stay 200-300 years or even beyond.
It's gorgeous.
Centuries, it will be there.
Yeah.
People asking me, why did you build it and move into it the last year of your office? Because it was not for me. It is for the people of Machakos.
Right.
It is for the future.
And
Karibu.
it's the White House.
And it is divided
And
into
it-
two,
okay.
coincidentally, like the White House in the US.
Okay.
We've got the East Wing, and we've got the West Wing.
So it models after the US White House.
Well, more or less. Actually, the placement was automatic because at times you face the sun. So this became the West Wing and the East Wing. And we've got the staff of the governor's office and everything. And this is just the governor's office. This is not an office for the county.
No.
We've got county headquarters.
Yeah.
We've got our county secretary. We've got our Ministry of Lands. They have their building. Ministry of Water. They have their building. Ministry of Health. They have their building and offices. So each ministry. It's what I learned from Kibaki's government, how to organize government, because I was putting it together for the future of this country, not for me.
I can't wait to hear that story.
Yes. And so, yeah, so this is where,
Okay.
you can see the place to take photos from, and, you know.
Yeah.
See my,
It's
this is
vast.
Anjoy. Anjoy takes care of me. Anjoy
How are
Bisheni.
you?
Yes.
Nice to meet
so
you.
unlike other government offices, they only have one personal assistant, one
Okay.
secretary who does everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Karibu to my office.
Thank you,
And
sir.
this is where we room Machakos from after you.
It's,
Karibu.
It's a governor's office.
Asante. Asante.
It's
Yes.
tastefully done. I see that.
We keep it simple and elegant, and just it's good things. I don't
Yeah.
like hanging wires. That's why you can see when there are no hanging wires on the TV. A few things out there.
Are
And,
these your favorite colors? What color is this?
yeah, it's, you know, the color, it's these earth colors. They work well because we've got wood, so combine it with earth colors and
Right.
this feel. And then when you have a carpet like this, you always know it's clean. So you don't
Yeah.
have uchafu hidden. So
No.
people can also make sure that you maintain it clean. Yeah. I have here honey. This is honey.
Oh.
I grow honey.
You
or
do?
If I say honey, yeah. I have a farm. I have a ranch, several hundred acres
Wow.
in South Kitui, and I have 125 beehives. And so I've been collecting honey, but I've been putting it together
Okay.
for my guests. So I call it my shamatamu honey.
So we are living here with
Asali.
honey because
Yes,
I don't
yes,
take
yes.
sugar. I use honey
Oh,
myself.
so let me actually give you the honey now. So you can, I put it there for you.
Well,
so
yes.
I can give you this honey. It's not
Yes.
for sale.
It's not
so we're
for
not
sale.
we're not advertising. We're not planning to sell it. This is only for my friends.
Is it?
So I just milk it for my friends.
Amazing.
maybe later on
so
I
will
may
I come
decide-
out with maybe a bit more, like one, just more bottles, not
Si
just one?
unaonja alafu natuambia kama ni mzuri. Kama ilifanya kazi mzuri.
So, Your Excellency.
Yeah, so
And then Charity, hold this for me as we do. Okay, thanks. I see the trophies there. Could we walk
Yes,
there and
yes.
tell me what that is about?
these are some of the trophies that have been awarded. There are very many, but these are some people. So, you know, we've gotten people
Wow.
came in, the Governor's Award 2015 for, you know, for tourism promotion, media engagement and all that. We have, I have a trophy that
Yeah.
is at home.
Yeah.
I should have brought it. The trophy was given in Ghana, in Nigeria,
For?
for being the best governor in Africa.
What?
Yes.
They
I was awarded.
recognized
They
you
wrote
all
me.
the way.
I went all the way to Nigeria. They had myself, other governors from South Africa, from Nigeria, from different countries. And I came on top because of the work they've done. They sent experts to look at everything you've done
Yeah.
because it's about work.
Yes.
And the others that we have received over time,
Yeah.
the booklets and the plans for the new city that we're still working on and everything, you know. I got
amazing.
this from the judiciary, the new constitution after it came out.
Oh.
They came and presented to me
beautiful.
by Lady Justice Kalpana Rawal
Okay.
at the time.
I see quite a number of books. Are you a reader?
Yes, I read a lot.
Yeah.
I have a book everywhere. All my bathrooms have
Your
a book.
car, everywhere you
Everywhere
have is-
I have
so
a
what are
book.
you currently reading now?
I carry a book. Nowadays, actually, I just picked a book that I've not read, just
Okay.
just an action. I like the thrillers once in a while.
Okay.
You know, at times you read for fun, at times you read for knowledge.
For knowledge.
So, you know, and all that.
I see.
And it works for us.
So we go sit so that we get to
Yes.
know where all this started from. And thank you,
Karibu.
sir. Thank you. Thank you for the tour, Your Excellency. It's beautiful. What you have here is beautiful.
Asante, karibu sana.
And I like what you said, that it's for the people. So you
Yes.
didn't do that for yourself.
No, I didn't do it for myself. I wanted to set up a form of standard, minimum standard, because we tend to be, because maybe, you know, we're a poor economy, we tend to be very minimalistic. And bringing in the experience that I've had, having lived in the US for 7 years, lived in Australia for 5, lived in the UAE, Dubai, I wanted to bring something of high quality that is not minimalistic, to show that we can also do things that are of high standards, as good as the ones they do in the US, in the UK, in Australia, in many of the other countries. Yeah.
So, well, we've started with the now, but I want us to just track back a bit and talk about your background. So someone seeing you now would think you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. The countries you've mentioned, you know, not everyone gets the opportunity to go there. So what was your childhood like?
I was born Ushago.
Okay.
You know, I was not born with any silver spoon. I was born at around lunchtime. My mom tells me walikuwa nasoma taarifa habari, nikazaliwa. And I grew up in the countryside and then moved to Nairobi as a child to go to school. I went to school a bit in Masii, then went to Nairobi. My parents were of low income. I don't say they are poor, but they were struggling because they earned very little money. They're in the big city working. I went to Guadalupe Nursery School, Catholic, it was free, and then to Karanja Estate. And that time we lived in Kibera, in a place, Kibra, a place called Makina, on nyumba za matope, using a pit latrine, fighting with rats when you go to the kitchen, when you go to the toilet. Very, very simple. I remember even when Jomo Kenyatta died, we were living there. And I remember people panicked that day. Nyumba za matope, watu walikuwa wanasingia kwa ndani nyumba because they thought now that Kenyatta has died, there's going to be msukosuko in the country. You know, and I remember very well because he also died on my birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, that is why I know I'll be president of this country, God's willing, one day. You know?
Yes.
And that day, there was a lot of boys. So we lived in Kibera. I went to Toi Primary School. And then we moved to Kawangware area, Ruta Satellite, to a wooden shack with no cement, 2 rooms. And I lived there until I was 21 years old.
Wow.
So that is how I grew up. No silver spoon. But grew up in a very happy Christian family. And my parents brought me up well. I have a sister, you know, my brothers, my cousins. So we had a very, very good life growing up. In a sense that I felt loved. And we had very good experiences as children, regardless of what we had. I never felt poor. I just felt that I was in transition in life. Yeah.
Did you have ambitions then? Like, what did you want to become as you're growing up?
You know, it's funny. You know, as a child, there are things that you want to do because of your fun. You know, I went to Dagoretti High School. You know, Dagoretti High School, when I was there in Form 2, just before my school fees, ikaisha, and I couldn't continue with school.
Okay.
So I dropped out of school. So nikaanza kufanya kazi ya mjengo. I actually used to push wheelbarrows with water to take to people so they could give me 10 shillings, 20 shillings, so I could take that money to my mom to buy sukuma wiki so we don't sleep hungry. So I know what it means. But then because I was very active in church, mzee wa kanisa, Mr. Hezron Idhaka, who passed away a few years ago. Very, very good man, very, very close to the family. He took me as if I was one of his kids, and he paid school fees for me. He was young, in his 30s.
Wow.
But he said, this kid is chap-chap.
Yeah.
This kid is going somewhere. We can't let him. And so he would send his driver, take my school fees Dagoretti, the same day he's taking school fees to his children's school, you know, Idhaka and others. So I'm forever grateful.
Yeah.
He passed away a few years ago. It was quite sad. He was sick. We tried to treat him and everything. But his family, very good family, Christian family. So I tell people that when you look at me, I'm a walking miracle.
Miracle.
So when I was young, to answer your question, I wanted to be, you know, you go through, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer because that's what they're telling you to do, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to be a journalist for a funny reason. Because I loved motor rallying, you know.
Safari rally?
I love safari rally.
Okay.
Anything to do with motor rally, up to today. I love everything to do with cars, you know. But I used to listen to the radio. In those days of safari rally, they used to have these announcements. Safari rally used to be a real safari rally. They would go to Chulu Hills, they would go to Savo, they would go wherever. You'd hear Patrick Njiro amegonga ngamia, sijui twiga usiku, you know.
Yeah.
It used to be grueling day and night, a real safari rally, very, very tough. And so you'd wake up at 3 to listen, and you'd hear the mtangazaji akisema, basi wasikilizaji, tuko hapa katika kituo cha Chulu Hills, sasa ni saa 9 usiku, tunangojea gari la kwanza. Katika kituo kile kilikuwa kule Emali, nakuta kwamba dereva fulani, you know, Hankunen alikuwa anaongoza. Tumesikia kwamba kulikuwa na ajali pale, gari sijui ya Njiro imeharibika. Tunangojea gari, tumesimama hapa, wananchi wako hapa wamejitoka kwa wingi, ni usiku wa maneno, wanasubiri kabisa. Na tunaona gari linakuja, limewasha mataa kabisa, wasikilizaji. Gari ndio hili linakaribia, ni gari nambari, ni gari nambari inakuja, imekaribia gari, ni matatu inapita. Gari bado haijafika. So as a result of that, I thought, I want to be a broadcaster. I want to be a broadcaster.
Okay.
I want to be a journalist. It's funny because of that. And eventually, when I finished Form 4, went Form 5 and Form 6, and then there's another miracle coming.
Okay.
Because I was in Form 5 when missionaries came from overseas. They came to Ruta Baptist Church. That is where
You used to fellowship?
That's where I used to fellowship.
Okay.
And I used to teach Sunday school with the likes of the late Mwalimu Kirui and others who were there, and Pastor Chacha, and you know, and all the other, Pastor Kimole, and all the others that were, you know. And when they came from the United States. They wanted somebody to take them around, and when they preach in English, we can translate. They are doing evangelism. So I took them around. You know, they say, we all come down from Dallas, Texas, sema wametoka kule Marekani na wamekuja na nusu mkate, you know, and all those things. They'd say, you know, we're very happy to be here. Wako na furaha sana. I want to tell you that Jesus came with miracles. Yesu alikuja na miraa na koo. Hallelujah. Pia na waluya. So, you know, and...
Is this a true story?
And anyway, so I was quite active, and they looked at me because I've always looked smaller and younger than my age. They said, "This kid, you're so small, you're so active, you love Christ, you love God, you know." And when they went back to the US, they wrote me a letter. They said, "Can you come to the US and study? What do you want to do?"
Oh, wow.
I was in Form 5. I said, "I want to be a journalist." So they got me a school, a Christian school with a scholarship to go to the US.
My God.
That's how I'm saying I'm a walking miracle.
How
Hii
old
ni
were
mpango
you?
ya Mungu.
Yeah.
You know, I was 8, I just finished Form 6. I was about 18, 19 years old.
Yes. Wow.
So what do? So they get a scholarship, they get a school. I go to the American Embassy, I get a visa with an I-20 I visa to go to the US. Alafu tukafanya mchango ya collect pesa ya kwenda ngambo. But you know, the harambee of a poor person is attended by poor people. You know, we were not able to raise a ticket for me to go to the US to study. Because all you know are poor people. They don't have money. Wanakupatia shilingi 50, shilingi 20, 50, you know. And my ticket to go to the US was about 25,000 shillings one way. We're only able to raise 12,000 shillings.
Wow.
So I have a visa, I have a school, I have a scholarship, and I siwezi ingia ndege.
What did you do?
I went out, you know, I'm quite aggressive in chap. I went around, and lucky enough, one man who I always thank is called Kavo Kadoko. He's a family friend. He worked in a tour agency. I went to see him, and he talked to the people who owned the companies. You know, there were Asians who owned the company, and they were quite touched, and they talked to others, and they were able to accumulate miles, and I was able to get a one-way ticket from Nairobi to New York, even though I was going 3,000 kilometers to the West Coast. And I said, kama Mungu amefungua njia, amefungua. So I boarded the last Pan American flight on August the 11th, 1991.
That was the way you...
That is how I went to the US.
Oh, wow.
There was no ati family kona pesa inatuma mtoto akasome. No, that's how I went. And I capitalized it.
Yes.
Because when I got there, I decided I wanted Kenya to be that way. Because when I got there, and the truth be told, I nilichanganyikiwa. You know, I was confused because I arrived and I saw a country where there's a tarmac road everywhere. There's water in every house. There's electricity that never goes off in every house. People are living comfortable lives. Kids, you know, my age, 19, 20, 21, they're all driving cars.
Yeah.
You know, we go for Bible study. Everybody comes with their car. I'm the only one walking, you know. And I started thinking, what's wrong? And I realized it has nothing to do with God hating us. God has given each and every country and each and every society similar opportunities. We are blessed in this country. We are blessed in our continent, Africa.
Yeah.
When I did my master's, we were told that Africa is the poorest yet richest country in the world. The mobile phone you have would not work without the minerals mined only in one place in the world, in DRC, Congo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The cameras you're using to film this, even telecommunication, will not work without minerals mined only in the African continent.
Yes, in Africa.
Yet we're the poorest continent. Nikaona there's a way we do things that is wrong. It's not about leadership.
Yeah.
Not when I say, oh, you get the leaders you deserve. It's true. Leaders, if they're corrupt, if they're disorganized, if they don't have quality, it's because they're a reflection of the society.
It's quite fascinating to know where you came from, what your beginnings are, and that you had a Christian background, and even what you believe that you will one day be president, just using that sign of our first president dying on your birthday. It's just, there's so many layers to you. And yes, I know you went to Australia, like you told us in your intro, and Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, that's the country, I think. Before now you came here. So we will come to all of that. But first, what was your experience? What did you go to do in Australia and the UAE? So your dreams for journalism, were they realized?
So what happened is that, it's good. So I went to the US, I did a bachelor's, I did a master's of science and communications. I came back to Kenya. I was the youngest lecturer at Daystar University at the age of 27. Here? I lectured at Daystar University. I taught at Daystar University. I worked at the Nation Media House. Yes. I wrote for the Standard. Yes. You know, I wrote for a newspaper called Kenya Times. Paka ikaanza kufilisika, tukaanza kuita Kenya Sometimes. Tulikuwa natoka once a week, you know, once every 2 days, hivi, Kenya Sometimes. So, you know, I was a proficient writer, you know, and in the US I started making films. I did some work for, you know, CBS affiliates. I worked for public broadcasting station. Yes. So I was doing productions of radio, production of television. I was writing. So I was well-rounded. And but before I came here, I applied to several schools, to Columbia, to Northwestern, to Sydney, universities, University of Sydney, to Sheffield in the UK, to Leeds. I got picked by many universities, you know, Indiana. But I would always wanted to go to Australia.
Why?
Because when I was in Form 2, my headmaster, a very good man called Z.G. Wanjao, Zachary G. Wanjao, headmaster at Dagoretti High School, went to Australia on this headmaster exchange program. He was a big man. We called him Big Fish behind his back. And he used to struggle climbing those stairs from down to up. Those, you know, walikuwa naeka ile ya kureceive, kama ile ya kureceive awards kwa athletics. You go from number 3 to number 1, then you're able to talk to us. But when he came from Australia, he was so excited, he seemed to jump from the ground to the top. And he talked to us. I don't know whether he remembers, I was in Form 2. He talked to us at parade for about half an hour. Tumesimama hapo about Australia, the kangaroos, the development. In my head, as a small young boy there, I decided one day I'll go to Australia. So I decided for my doctorate, why don't I go to Australia? So that's how I ended up in Australia. I got a full scholarship to go to Australia. because, I had good grades.
Yes.
I had worked hard. I had a history of work and of writing and everything. So after I finished, I taught in Daystar for about a year, and then I went to Australia. So I went to Australia, did my doctorate. I finished my doctorate. I got my doctorate at the age of 31 years old, nikamaliza. And then I was a foreign correspondent at the same time. So I was working for a TV station called SBS, going around the world, interviewing leaders, going around Africa and everything. And I got noticed by headhunters in the UAE, who have this prestigious school called Zayed University, named after the first president, like Kenyatta University. So that's how I got headhunted from Australia to go to the UAE. And it is while I was in the UAE that I started coming to Kenya, doing consultancies with the media houses, writing articles in the press. That's how I got noticed by the Kibaki government. And that's how I got headhunted to come back for an interview. And I came, did an interview, and I became the first government spokesperson. So I've been in the same line of communication. And so, as I say, I'm a walking miracle, because doors have just been opened for me. But you work hard. Nothing's for free. You have to be in the radar. You have to be better than the next person. You can't just be in the crowd. You have to stick your neck out and be able to serve people. That's why I say that I believe that God has plans for me. That's why I don't worry about what God has planned for me as we approach the future.
So what was the fascination or motivation to move from the UAE to come back home?
I always wanted to come back home.
Oh, is it?
Always. Everything I did was about coming back to Kenya. So when I got the point to UAE, to me, immediately, psychologically, I knew I'm going home. Because I'm coming from a place that is over 15 hours away by flight, 18 hours, to a place that's only 4.5 hours. So I was getting close to home. I could come home over the weekend, So I was coming back home. That is the motivation. And also recognizing that the UAE is the new world. UAE, the tech economies, Singapore and others are the new world in terms of innovation, what they're doing. So it was a learning curve for me. And I have to say that some of the things that I've done in this country as government spokesman and here in Machakos are a result of my experiences in the UAE.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, yes, you're right. It reflects that. So, well, we'll continue the rest of your story in a bit. For now, we have to take a short commercial break. Don't go too far. What's Your Story is coming back in a bit.
I mean well for this country, and I feel bad when I know that we've been shortchanged as a people. We can be just as rich as the UAE. We can just be doing as well as any other rich country.
Welcome back to the show. It's What's Your Story? We're here at the White House, the office of the Governor of Machakos County, His Excellency Dr. Alfred Mutua, who has been gracious in hosting us. I wasn't ready for your sense of humor, by the way. That totally just upturned me. So you're coming back to Kenya to serve in the late President Kibaki's government and establishing your film company, Golden Dreams. First of all, you took us by storm with Cobra Squad. We had not been exposed to such content before. And what was your motivation to do such a show, by the way?
You look at CSI and other shows. You look at the shows we were producing at the time. Yes, we have got very good quality shows, but there was nothing to do with action. And I realized this action. When I was studying, there's a Japanese filmmaker who said, you start with action, then more action, then more action. People love action, leave things. And then I'm a big movie fan too, movie buff. I watch a lot of movies and a big fan of James Bond series. So I even own a collection of James Bond. All James Bond is ever made. I have a collection of James Bond. The ones that even show us behind the scenes, how they are made. And James Bond was a big motivation for me. So let's make something that is action, a series that is action, that is Kenyan made, with helicopters, with snakes, with explosions, with people shooting. And it was loved.
And martial arts.
And martial arts.
Yes.
Because I started doing martial arts myself when I was 10 years old at Ruta Baptist. I went through the whole spectrum. I did Shotokan karate. Shotokan karate is the one that goes, hoo, and then I did taekwondo. Taekwondo is mostly, you do the legs and, you
Gets
know.
it. Mm-hmm.
So, and then after that I did tempo kung fu, you know. That is softer, you know. It's like the wind, you gather the wind in the water and you use your chi, and yeah. So I've done it for a long time. So when I brought martial arts into Cobra Squad,
Yes.
it was because I'm bringing part of myself into it. And there's even a scene whereby I'm an extra. I pretend I wore a wig and pretend I pretend I was a girl, and we're there shooting and, you know, and punching and, you know.
Your face literally lights up when you're talking about martial arts.
Oh, I love martial arts. It's my passion.
Yeah.
And my son, my firstborn, is doing taekwondo. You know,
Really?
so, you know, and he's very good at it.
After the steps of his daddy.
I think these things go like that, yeah.
Yeah. So for you, who inspired you to get into it?
Actually, it was just somebody came to church as young people were playing football. So said, do you want to do, you know, Shotokan,
Right.
taekwondo? And we just started. You know, a few of us, you know, Kina Jimmy and others at Teruta Baptist, yeah.
So have you found, do you get time maybe in your schedule to do a couple of moves like as a form of
Yeah,
exercise?
I do.
Or?
Once in a while, I do. I know I walk. I don't run anymore.
Right.
Run kidogo, but I walk. I
Yeah.
do a bit of exercise. But yeah, whenever I get a chance, I've got a friend of mine called Professor Iraki. He's also done kickboxing. So once in a while, we do some sparring, do some kicking.
And
One thing I've realized is this, what you do in your 20s, physically and mentally, define the rest of your life.
Tell me more.
Kabisa. The way you open up your mind, you know, the mind is a muscle. You know, if today you woke up, and people don't think about this, if today you woke up and you decided to go on a marathon, ukimbia 5 kilometers, tomorrow, the lactic acid and everything, you'll not be able to walk. Utakuwa unaumwa na mwili. Because that muscle has not been exercised. And then, but if you do it bit by bit and then you run daily and everything, then you develop those muscles in a way that they can react very quickly. The same way, you know, with the brain. If you don't read, you don't expand your knowledge, you don't think beyond your understanding, the day you'll be forced to do it, utashikwa na headache. You need to expand your knowledge base. So that, and then you prepare your mind and your brain to absorb new things and bigger things that can define you.
So what was it like serving in the Kibaki government? You were the first government spokesman that we knew of. Just today, I got to learn that there was one during Kenyatta's government. And I'm like, who? Because I don't know. But to me, I think you're the one we know of as the government spokesman.
I think I was the official first government spokesperson. There might have been somebody else who was speaking on behalf of KANU or something. But I'm the first government spokesperson, and there's an office created. And I want to commend Raphael Tuju. It was Raphael Tuju, Mheshimiwa, who came up with the concept together with Ambassador Mudhaura that we needed something to cushion the presidency at the time. And you know, this is a time when President Kibaki had also had an accident and a few strokes. So he was not in a position to be out in the public limelight. We needed to control the narrative and be able to do it in a way, and also coordinate, because our media were everywhere after the Moi era. You know, people had been constrained for so long. So now they had been freed. Our media was going wild with this freedom. They didn't know what to do with it. So we needed someone to be able to coordinate this passion by media, to feed them information that they were seeking. Others, they go wild. And that's why the office was formed. And I got headhunted. I got called when I was in Dubai. And I sent my CV. Then they called me. I was interviewed by the likes of Professor Nyang'nyong. He's one of the people who interviewed me. The late Mwiraria. It was a cabinet interview. Mudhaura and others. And I stood out the best. You know, I could speak fluent Kiswahili, naongea Kiswahili sanifu kabisa. I could write. I had international experience. I'd worked as a journalist. I was in the radar. I was in the radar. I was not being chosen out of luck. And I knew nobody in government. You know, people say, oh, you need a godfather. I had no godfather.
At all.
My only godfather is the Almighty God. I've never had a godfather. I've never had somebody ati nitafutie kazi, niongeleshe kazi. Nobody. It's my work and God's blessings that have given me these positions. I didn't know Kibaki. When I got him, I remember others asking, huyu ni mtoto wa nani? Ni mtoto wa nani? Ni mtoto wa nani? Yeah. Mimi nilikuwa mtoto tu ya mzee ambaye amenilea vizuri na mama amenilea vizuri. Coming from the slums to where I was by God's blessings. So I tell young people, if you want to stand out, you'll stand out. Even me, when I hire people here, in this office, in my businesses, I don't look at whose sons is who. I look at the person who is going to bring me money.
What are some of the biggest challenges you had during that tenure as government spokesman?
You know, people think I was just a government spokesman. No, I was not. Actually, being government spokesman, technically, was about only 10% of my job. Wow. 90% was running government.
Is it?
We were in policy decisions. I was in cabinet office working with a great man, I think one of the best minds in this country, called Francis Muthaura. We ran government. We made decisions for government. We ran government. And we made decisions. We were there in decision making. We were there advising Kibaki. We used to sit down with Kibaki every morning and tell him state of the nation and guide this country, coming up with policies. Thanks to Kibaki, Muthaura, I was even there for formation. You know, I remember we went to see Kibaki, myself and Muthaura, to form a new government after 2005. I was the one typing the names of who will be minister, who will be what. We were the ones writing policy. So I was involved a lot in the running of the government. You know, that's why I was able to come here and do the things I've done, because I knew how government operates. I knew the economic things. Even people talk about Vision 2030.
2030, yes.
Do you know, Francis Muthaura invited somebody from Singapore to speak to us as permanent secretaries at a hotel in Nairobi. After the meeting, we went to his office. In his office, this gentleman, it was myself, Ambassador Muthaura, and this gentleman, told us about how Singapore grew and how they had a Vision 2010 and all the visions they had, or whatever visions, and told us about how ministries would be wound down if you're not spending the money. All those things. After he left, we got so excited. Ambassador Muthaura said, we need to have a vision. So he gave me the job to write a concept paper. So I went home and wrote a concept paper for Vision 2020. I brought him to him. Muthaura is a top economist. He looked at the paper, made corrections, gave to Beatrice, his secretary. We made corrections. We got into a car, me and him, went to State House, took it to Kibaki. Kibaki is like this. He said, sawa, kabisa, develop a cabinet memo. We developed a cabinet memo. It was adopted by cabinet. A company called McKinsey was hired. It is McKinsey that changed it from Vision 2020 that I had written to Vision 2030. So we can meet our goals. And we're involved with the ICT city and all those things.
Yes.
Even Konza City.
Yes.
Is because I fought for it to come to these sides. We were involved in a lot of those things, the youth policies, financial. I sat in those financial meetings, you know, because Kibaki decided we don't want to borrow. President Kibaki said we live within our means. He used to be the Minister of Finance. He knew Kenya had money. That time we had foreigners who used to be called donors. You know, they were donating money to us. He said we have to change this. So Muraria, Minister Muraria, the late Muraria, and the CBK Governor Mulei, I was in that meeting. They were tasked to come up with a formula where we don't have to borrow. And it came down to KRA, Waweru, revamped, collect your own, you know. Tax. I'm the one in my office who came up with the slogan, you know, kulipa ushuru ni kulinda uhuru, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Took them to Kibaki, he approved. And that's how we were able to collect our own taxes. And we said we will no longer in our budget have external funding for our budget.
Wow.
We are going to live within our means. And that's what changed them from being donors to development partners. You partner with us. Kama utaki kuja, shauri yako kwenda. We do it ourselves. Wow. And look, we did Thika Superhighway.
Yes.
We did the things of free primary education. All those things.
Yeah.
And then they came in as partners.
Wow, it's quite enlightening to know that it was not just the you we saw there giving us updates, but there was a lot going on behind the scenes.
And that's why I could answer the questions, because I understood the government in out.
Yes.
I understood what every minister was working on.
Got it.
I understood what everybody was doing and the policy direction we were going. And I understood Mwai Kibaki's passion for this country and where he was going. Yeah.
I see that. So then, how did the transition from you being government spokesman to having the desire, the passion to be now governor come about?
What we did is that with a new move towards a new constitution, it was prepared by our court and the others and WACO and others. And a meeting was called, went to Mombasa and went through the document, the draft that was nearly being passed. And I was sitting, I remember very well, I was sitting with Amos Wako, and on the other side there was General Gishangi. Michael Gishangi was the head of the NSIS at the time. national intelligence. And I showed them these phrases about powers of the governor. And being quick on the uptake, I read and I looked at Wako. And Wako told me, yes, what you're saying is true. The governor will be the second most powerful seat in this country after the president. And I realized what they were doing is that they were devolving power so that we could actually change the country bit by bit. And it was in that sitting in Mombasa, you know, with the urging of Major General Gishangi, that I decided I'm going to run for governor because Kibaki's term was coming over. And I realized I could run for governor and change things that we've been able to change here in Machakos. And I knew I would win. But I campaigned.
Yes.
I used to do 10 rallies in a day. Me, I have a lot of energy. I campaigned thoroughly. And then we did miracles. Machakos used to be in the list of regions receiving food relief. I bought tractors for every ward to plow. I gave free seed to people who couldn't afford. Subsidized fertilizer for all my farmers. Chicken for all our mothers. Free chicken. We've had a free chicken program running for nearly now 10 years. In the country, every day, beans of chicken. What has happened? As a result now, Machakos is no longer in the list of counties receiving food relief. We have turned down a shame of being fed to people who can sustain themselves. Another 5 years, we continue the same trajectory, Machakos will be able to feed Kenya. It's all about leadership. It's all about having a focus and hanging on to it and doing it.
Yeah.
But this has also helped because we were able to provide water. I bought tractors to dig water, and I have dug over 671 boreholes, all solar powered. Laid over 500 kilometers of piped water to our mothers who used to walk kilometers. Dug over close to 500 ponds and dams in Machakos. Hapa tunafanya kazi. Watu wanasema, haiwezekani bana, ni PR. But come and see.
Yeah.
Why are we not receiving food relief anymore? Because of the work we've done. The lights have put in our towns. The economy that has grown. Land here in Machakos used to be very cheap. Now you can't afford it because we've grown the economy. People are doing well. I built the stadium in 1 month. Chap, wakasema itaisha. It's still there. I built a road for 33 kilometers in 3 months. It is still there. Up to today. People still use it. In good shape.
Yeah.
Looking new. I built the People's Park. Unaharibu pesa. How much money comes here because people come here, they use the petrol stations here, they come from Nairobi, they eat here. Machakos has grown because of this, because we are thinking beyond just the norm.
So you wanting to be president, this knowledge that you had when you were back then, when you lived in Kibra, and you making that announcement in 2020 that you want to run for president now, is that still the case?
Yes, with the dynamics of politics, at times you adjust, but the passion is still there.
And how do you change the culture of a nation?
We will. You see, the good thing is that we've got a lot of young people, who don't know the history of this country, about how tulifanya hivi, tukafanya hivi. People just want to have a good life. And I think they're getting fed up with the politics, and things are changing. Things are changing.
Okay.
Things are changing. I'm full of hope. God loves us. Things are changing. And Kenyans, even the ones watching this show, they know that they don't have to suffer. Unafuata mtu wa kabila lako, alafu, kesho. You should cast your vote, either as a protest vote or a vote for the person who is going to improve your life.
It's true.
Yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be, especially as governor? Your journey, journalist, filmmaker, film and documentary maker. You did a film for the Sheikh.
Yeah, I made a film in Dubai called In the Desert Smiled, launched by the Sheikh and everything. You see, everything is all about, life is about what you do, not what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay. I think there are two important aspects in life. And the first aspect is, apart from God, God is always number one. Apart from God, there are two others. The first one is that you will always be judged by what you did. And the second one is about your family. You see, when people go to funerals, when people, they read the obituary, they don't say, alitaka kuwa mwalimu, halafu akataka kuwa mkulima, halafu alikuwa pia na ndoto ya kwenda kusoma, alikuwa pia ameamini ataanzisha biashara. No, they say, alikuwa mwalimu, alifanya hivi. So you are judged by what you do. When you also go to funerals and they read the obituary, wanasema, they don't say aliacha gari 5 na nyumba kubwa. Alisema aliacha familia, aliacha watoto 3, aliacha watoto 5. aliacha bibi na watoto, aliacha ndugu watatu, aliacha baba, aliacha. It's your family that you leave behind. It is not the property that you have. You know, and your families can be your immediate families, very core, but also the family of people around you.
You talked to me about your firstborn, so your other kids.
Yeah, I have kids. I don't usually have my kids in the public domain, because you have to protect the innocence of your children. Yeah, it's very. I got a letter today from the teacher of my daughter. I have a daughter. I have a set of twins, a boy, girl, and then and she gave a speech at parade at our school, and she did very well, and they were so impressed. They wrote an email telling me that she did very, very well, and I thought, wow, it's interesting that the apple doesn't fall very far away from the tree, you know, because I was in the same veins, you know, public speaking, I did all these oratory skills and all those things, and yeah, it's interesting, you know.
Nice. Okay.
And out of the blues, my son the other day told me he wants to be a journalist. I've never influenced him. Just he said, oh, look, to discuss courses. I thought, I think I can be a good journalist, just like that, you know.
As we wind up, do you look back at your life and marvel at that young boy from Cobra who was translating the wrong things for bishops? And
which was just a joke, but
it was a joke, eh?
I was saying the right things, but you know.
You know, do you look back at times and see where you are now and where you want to go, and what does that make you feel? And you've spoken a lot about God influence in your life, but just you, like, what does that sit like for you?
I feel lucky and humbled, and I keep my life very simple because I believe that I'm a vessel to do good work for this society as long as I'm kicking and alive. So it's not about me. Yeah, that's why even when people criticize or attack me or insult me, I feel zero, because it's not about me, it's about the people.
Do you ever get angry?
I hardly get angry. I get agitated.
Okay.
The only time I really get angry if I see people abusing others who are of lower power. That makes me angry. You know, I hear people, you know, you see people, for example, engage in domestic abuse. You know, you beat somebody up and you say, oh, nilikuwa nimelewa. Lakini ulevi yako mbona ukupiga askari? If ukipeleka umelewa in front of a judge, you don't go and slap and beat up the judge. It's all about respect and power. You know, so that makes me angry when people try to get away with this ati ni mambo ya nyumbani, domestic. You know, mtu amelima bwana ama amelima bibi to pulp. You know, I don't believe in violence. We don't need violence. If you don't like what you stand for, you don't like what you stand for, walk away. Live your life. You know, just walk away.
Okay. Your Excellency, what's your parting shot? I
just want to tell people that watch this space because God has a plan for us as a country, and I'm willing to be used as a vessel to change this. And we need something better for this country so we can be able to go forward. We need people with good hearts and good spirits that you can count on. We need people who do not give handouts but give hands up so that you can be able to lift our people from poverty. We need to transform this country from being a country of a few people with billions and millionaires who are sleeping hungry. You know, millions who are sleeping hungry. We want to invest that. And that's my passion. And I tell people, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please support me in my ventures, because I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for all of us. And kama nimekukosea kwa njia fulani ama umeona nimekosa, na kuomba unisamehe. You know, forgive me. Let's forgive each other. Na unishike mkono. Because I mean well for this country. And I feel bad when I know that we've been shortchanged as a people. We can be just as rich as the UAE. We can just be doing as well as any other any other rich country. But we don't, because we aim low and we choose people on tribal basis or funny histories, and tunaangalia tunapangwa saa zote. Sasa ni wakati si wananchi sisi ndio tuwapange, na tutawapanga by making the right choice, and I hope I'm the right choice for this country by God's grace.
I hear you. Thank you so much for giving us the time to have this conversation. You have unveiled or revealed, at least to me, parts of you that are nowhere to be read. Like, it's new, and it's just good to see how you have traction in your life, in your story, and just how you almost silence the noise and you focus on what you need to do. That's really inspiring.
Asante.
So thank you so much for watching the show. It goes right up on YouTube after this, and a repeat this coming Tuesday at 10 p.m. Thank you for your time, and thank you again for requesting that we bring this gentleman. Here he is. We keep our promises, and thank you for accepting.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes.
Until next week, stay well. God bless you.